1 minute 12.9. Unbelievable.
A week's a long time in Formula One. The Schumachers are all brotherly cuddles and giggles again.
I expected it to be tight, but to beat Michael here after the test we have seen from them was very difficult.
It is good for him to have his first pole position on his birthday. People always tend to think now, yeah, that was a kind of present I made to him, but this will be stupid because he made it because he was faster than me.
And all Schumacher front row for the French Grand Prix. Ralph's first pole. We're at Manicourt. It is round 10 of F1 2001. Home race for the experienced and very popular Jean Alesi. He's welcomed us to his hometown of Avignon to explain what drives him on at the age of 37. Hello there, race day at Manicourt. Good afternoon to you. Beautiful day as well. Big crowd inside here. Temperature 26 degrees and rising. Tony Jardine with me as always. Hiya, Tony. Special guest, Ross Brawn, Technical Director at Ferrari. Thanks very much for popping in. I know it's a very busy time for you. Your man, Michael Schumacher, what, 9 out of the last 13 he's won. Do you fancy him again this afternoon?
Yes, of course. I mean, people keep asking me when do I think Michael's reached his peak. But when you see performances like Nürburgring, there's still a lot to come. So I certainly haven't seen the downside yet. So there's every chance today.
A lot to come. If we check the standings, you can see Michael Schumacher, well, he's 14-1 on now to retain his title, 24 ahead of David Coulthard. Coulthard had a magical drive here last year. Pole sitter Ralph Schumacher, 26 yesterday. He could overtake Barrichello today. Montoya is very confident, and Häkkönen's gone quickest in this morning's warm-up. Tony, if we look back at qualifying, Ralph Schumacher, first pole, his 76th session, and he broke records along the way.
Yeah, do. One of the things Ross was saying when the test was here before Canada is that watch out for Michelin, they'll be very strong, but this package is getting stronger and stronger. And on this very smooth but yet slippery surface, they drop the cars right down as low as they can to get more downforce, I think, but those Michelin tyres working really well, the BMW engine as well. 13.6 on his first run, but more was to come, and we thought that was really, really quick. And there you go, 12.9 he popped in as well. Didn't think anyone could get close, but obviously Michael got a bit closer later on as well. First pole for Ralphie on his birthday.
He did get a bit closer, didn't he, Ross? He was going for pole number 40, Michael, and he missed it, what, 100th of a second he missed it by, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a frustrating qualifying, and I'm sure everyone has the same story, but the second but last run, Jarno truly got mixed up with him, and I came on the radio at the wrong time when he was in the middle of a corner. Our telemetry system was giving me some bad information, so I kind of helped spoil his last for one lap, and then the third one he just didn't quite get it together. But yeah, 100th, it was very close.
What did you say to him on the radio then when you came in at the wrong time?
Well, it's what he said to me on the radio afterwards. It was not for broadcast, that's for sure.
Right, what's a right time and what's a wrong time to go on the radio then?
Well, we try and pick the straights. And what we do with Michael is after the second sector time, we give him some information on whether he's quickest, so he knows how hard to push in that last sector. And we didn't have very good television coverage, so we weren't quite sure where he was on the track, and I was looking at our telemetry, which should tell us. Okay. And there was a bit of a lag in the telemetry, so in fact I spoke to him just as he was coming through the far chicane, and he didn't appreciate that very much.
Okay, well thanks for explaining that. David Coulthard was lagging a bit, wasn't he, Tony, until a late dash onto the second row?
Yeah, I mean, they say, OK, we're a little bit closer, but it's really not good enough for McLaren, and they are having their problems with qualifying performances. David did come across on his third run some gravel thrown onto the track by another car, and he said that would have definitely been my fastest run. They say they know what they've got to do. We've got to go away and do it, and we suspect they'll be a bit closer to Ross's boys by Silverstone.
Well, you shouted in Michael's ear, and that didn't help him too much. What happened to your other man, Rubens Barrichello? Worst qualifying, what is it, 14 races since Spa?
Yes, not a happy day. We came here with a new tyre, a new Bridgestone. After the test, it was clear we weren't competitive enough. So Bridgestone brought a new compound, and Rubens wasn't sure about it. He wasn't completely happy with it. So in fact, he started yesterday morning with the old tyre, and then at the last minute decided to go with the new tyre. And he didn't get the car right for qualifying. We just didn't have enough time to get the car balance correct. But he's much happier this morning. He's quite pleased with the car this morning. So if he can get a good run in the race, I think he'll be very competitive this afternoon.
Let's just talk about Michael and his relationship with younger brother Ralph. Are you starting to feel a little bit sorry for him, perhaps, that everybody now seems to be focusing in on that?
Well, it's good media. I mean, they're two competitive racing drivers. Undoubtedly, being brothers, that has a bit of an influence over their races. You know, they're racing against each other. They're not going to push it. It's not going to be a do-or-die effort from either of them. So it has a bit of influence, and it's good media. Ralph, I must say, has come on a long way, because 2 or 3 years ago I really didn't see him getting where he is today, because he was very ragged, he was trying too hard. But joining Williams has really settled him down, and he's a superb driver.
Well, we just saw last week's race. This is here last year, and Michael doing a number on David Coulthard. Are you absolutely happy with the way he starts races?
It's tough. I mean, I'll say I support my driver totally. So you're not going to get anything out of me to say that it's not. But it's tough tactics, I agree.
Bullying tactics?
Very strong, very strong. But the guys at the front are very strong. The reason they're there is they're very strong. You don't get weak people at the front of a Formula 1 grid, so it's a tough business.
And do you go along with the theory that Michael would only do that to certain drivers? I mean, if it was a Villeneuve or a Coulthard, perhaps a Montoya, he wouldn't have done what he did last week to Ralph? Was that nonsense?
I don't know how you judge that. I mean, some of those guys have not been at the front of the grid for a while, so it's not easy to say. But I don't know how you judge that. I mean, it's not just the start. If you look at a whole race, you get lots of situations where drivers will push another one to the limit. And they find it's part of their psyche, it's part of their build-up for drivers to know whether they're an easy touch or whether they're going to be tough. But of course there's limits. So a driver doesn't want to be seen as an easy touch, but equally he's got to put as much pressure on as he can. So it's all part of the challenge of racing each other.
One of the great reasons for your success, for Michael's success, Ferrari's success, has been reliability, but you're a little bit unreliable here last year, I seem to remember.
Yes, we had, well, we were going through a period when we had difficulties with the tyres. We weren't using the tyres as well as McLaren were, and we were overheating the tyres. So during the race, Michael started to suffer from heavy tyre decay, particularly at the rear. So he was being challenged first by David, and then he was being hassled by Mika, and ultimately had an engine failure, which is not related, but it was one of our few retirements last year. So I hope we can do a bit better today.
I know our time is up. I know you've got to go at 1:15 the hour, but just one final question for you. Are Ferrari a more relaxed team all round this year, now that Michael Schumacher has won that World Championship for you?
It was going to be very interesting to see. I mean, people speculated that once we'd won the championship, it was all going to deflate. And I've been really pleased with the approach of everyone, because getting that championship out of the way has definitely helped. Everyone is just a little bit calmer, a little bit more relaxed. They know they can do it. We had 3 years of losing it at the last race, and that was tough. So we've done it now, it's behind us, and the team are performing superbly, and everyone's just a little bit more relaxed, but still very competitive. And I guess now it's fear of failure rather than having to win the championship. We finished second 3 years, we know it's not very nice, and we want to win the championship again, and the choice is finishing second or first, and everyone on the team wants to win.
You've got to dash back over there and get on with your work, haven't you? Thanks very much indeed for joining us, and thanks for your help during the races as well, telling us what's going on. OK, Tony, you just chat us through the grid to you as Ross makes his way home.
Schumacher versus Schumacher again for the 4th time on the grid this year. I owe him one, says Ralph, about his big brother's squeeze from last week. McLaren's a bit close to the front, but still not a great qualifying performance. They won't be happy with that. Truly happy with his car, said we made a real step forward, 5th place on the grid. Montoya said he was blocked by a lazy. And Frentzen, he said he had a blockage, and we were talking about Barrichello before, he could not get the setup right. Villeneuve, I got the maximum out of the car, he said I pushed as hard as I could. Now the Frenchman, Panis, back there, he said, well, the car was worth 7th or 8th on the grid, we didn't do it justice. De La Rosa next to Kimi Räikkönen on the grid. Bertie had a couple of big spins in qualifying. Fisichella, the evolutionary package of the engine and the aero, not quite together yet at the moment. Jenson Button admits that he didn't adjust the differential for his last 2 runs. The car was therefore tail happy. Lazy, setup not right. Very disappointed in front of his home crowd, the worst qualifying this year. Marquez had problems upshift and downshift, but still 22nd on the grid.
Right, then let's talk to Michael Schumacher. He upset his brother, as we've heard, by squeezing him close to the wall at the Nürburgring at last week's European Grand Prix. But another win here, and you can just about close the book on the Drivers' Championship. James Allen reporting.
With 5 wins from the first 9 races and sitting atop a 24-point cushion in the championship, Michael Schumacher has every reason to feel he's on target for a 4th world title. And that's exactly how he feels.
Comfortable is probably the right word, but not over-comfortable, because people always tend to give me the impression, well, you should be very comfortable, things going easy. In racing, nothing goes easy. It goes sometimes easy by the wrong way, so I always want to be concentrated, obviously.
One area which is consistently stronger though this year is qualifying. You've been on pole very consistently this year. Have you improved? Has the car improved? Is it a little bit of both?
It's very obviously a matter of the car, because I can't see that McLaren suddenly gone the other way. It's all due to the drivers. For us, we're good in qualifying and in race, which is the best combination, obviously. But that's certainly down to the car.
You're getting the points, and of course the other thing is Williams are taking points and wins, which is restricting the possibilities that McLaren have as well. So in a way, it's a sort of dream scenario for you, isn't it? The fact that it's spread out a little bit, it's not just McLaren anymore you're racing against.
Honestly, if you take the season, it has only been Nürburgring, which basically cost Coulthard 2 points. Because in Imola he took away 4 points from Coulthard, but in Canada he did against me. And it is Nürburgring where David lost 1 position against Montoya, which is minus 2 points. Otherwise, Williams has not really influenced the decision of the World Championship points.
Is there a different pressure, a different kind of feeling when you're racing against Ralph from racing against DC or Hakkinen?
Yeah, there is certainly a different feeling. People may not believe this, but when I saw my brother winning in Canada and greeting me in a way he did, I was happy for him. I really felt good, like I did myself a victory. No, it's something which I like to see. It's maybe more normal for the older one anyway. I have been successful, that you're happy to give away some success yourself.
But of course the irony is, the twist is that to be successful he's got to beat you.
Well, yeah, but that's a good challenge for him, isn't it?
It's a good challenge as well for David Coulthard, because just like last year, he comes here knowing he can't let Michael Schumacher increase his lead. Coulthard 24 points adrift as things stand, but at least he's close to the sharp end of the grid. Kevin Piper reporting.
It wasn't the ideal outcome, not with the brothers Schumacher grabbing the front row headlines, but in the circumstances, David Coulthard's late rush to 3rd place on the grid represents a good day's work.
I think we've taken a step forward from Nürburgring in terms of qualifying pace, which I hope will mean we're a bit closer in race trim. Obviously the Williams eventually getting pole, they've looked like it at a lot of races this year. That might mean that things are obviously going to be tight in the race, because they were obviously able to win without having pole in Imola, and you know, track conditions here in terms of surface are quite similar, although the track layout is quite different.
If Coulthard seems a touch subdued, he can take heart from his performance here in France last year. This move on Schumacher Senior, the highlight of a brilliant win.
I wouldn't want to meet him this afternoon anywhere. Coulthard really in super aggressive mode.
With Michael Schumacher going on to retire, Coulthard's victory put him back into contention for the title 12 months ago. He knows he needs much the same outcome this afternoon.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, the goal is to achieve victory, and you know, strategy will obviously come into that. The strongest hand lies with the front row guys, and it'll come down to, first of all, who's got the better tyre, and then if Bridgestone hopefully have, then it'll be whether we can, you know, use it more effectively than Ferrari.
Coulthard comes here in good shape on the back of a recent trip back to the family home on the west coast of Scotland, blowing away a few cobwebs under the eye of his personal trainer.
An environment like this is very conducive to training and being upbeat, which is what we're trying to create before the race. We want a positive attitude. And an environment like this, it instills that positive attitude, the desire to work hard and achieve.
Come on, get off me, come on!
I want the guy to win. Until he's won at least one championship, I won't be happy.
5, 66.
I just say for the record, that's much more difficult than it looks.
Meantime, as Formula One's driver merry-go-round season gets underway, Coulthard, for one, is hoping to stay put.
This is where I want to be. It's, I've invested a lot of time in the team. I've been here since '96, and obviously they've been kind enough to give me that opportunity. And despite the difficulties we're having this year, I think that we form a good partnership. So it would seem not very sensible to give up on that.
And we're getting buzzed at the moment by a mirage from the French Air Force. 35 minutes to go to the start of the French Grand Prix. So despite those recent setbacks, doesn't look as though David Coulthard's going to fly away from McLaren. But Jenson Button's future, well, that is less clear-cut as his Benetton boss Flavio Briatore shuffles his driver's pack. This from Louise Goodman.
Flavio Briatore is an influential figure in Formula One circles. Not only does he control the fortunes of the Benetton team, he's also the personal manager of some of the hottest young talents in the paddock. Fernando Alonso is a Flavio Briatore protege, as are current Benetton incumbent Giancarlo Fisichella and fellow Italian Jarno Trulli. Trulli's Jordan contract expires this year, and his close relationship with Briatore has led to speculation that he'll be Benetton bound for 2002, but Jarno says the final decision rests with him.
Flavio's a manager, so he gets a percentage from what I earn, and nothing else. It's up to me to decide where I want to go and what I want to drive for.
We have the option to Jarno Trulli is in Jordan. We don't know yet, honestly. It's not simple to decide, and we need to talk with Eddie as well what he wants to do, and we need to try doing the best for the team and for the driver as well. Plus we have two young drivers like Alonso and Mark Webber in the line as well. See what happens. We need to see what happens in the next 2 weeks, and we decide.
Giancarlo Fisichella has done a good job for the team this year, regularly outperforming Jenson Button. It has been mooted that Button will swap places with Jarno Trulli, but Eddie Jordan doesn't see that as a likely option.
I don't see that happening. It's not, I don't believe in, certainly it's not in Jarno's interest, and at this moment in time, as I say, the continuity is of importance to us, and the dialogue that's been built over the years is important to maintain that. Jarno is on top of his game. He's a super young boy, and we'll do everything we can to keep him.
Jenson Button, meanwhile, is just pleading ignorance.
I don't know anything about what's going on there. Yeah, I've spoken to other teams, but nothing serious or anything like that. Just a normal chit-chat, as everyone does, but nothing serious in it. Definitely not. I'm here next year at Benetton, and that's pretty much all I know.
But what of his long-term future? After all, Jenson is still under contract to the Williams team.
In 2003, it says that I'm in Williams. I'm in a Williams car with BMW. But anything can happen in Formula One, and it normally does, as Murray would say.
Indeed he would. What about Jenson? Where do you fancy the cards are going to fall for him?
Well, it is very much the call of Briatore, because he's stacking the cards, but I think, he's ultimately owned by Frank Williams, as he said, and I think Frank is sitting very, very pretty. He can look at the performance of Montour and Button over the next year and retain any one of those two and put them in the Williams car.
Right. You mentioned Flavio Briatore there, a man whose lips you have to watch very, very carefully to get the true meaning. But is he likely to be on his way? There's a bit of a buzz around the paddock this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's so strong, Jim. It is actually worth mentioning that the paddock are suggesting that he finishes with Benetton next week and he's going to take over at Prost, potentially Asia Tech as well, and put the two together. But David Richards, you remember, he used to manage Benetton a couple of years ago, the guy from World Rally and IOC. He was here yesterday having a couple of meetings, he said, so that added weight to the rumour, really.
OK, Tony, thank you very much indeed. Well, the best drivers in the world have been flying around at Manicourt this weekend. Last year's pole time's been improved by over 2 seconds. Martin Brundle reckons he's mentally scarred by the circuit after countless testing laps. Here's one more, Martin, with Rubens Barrichello.
Barrichello only 8th on the grid. Let's see if we can see why. Taking it very slowly through that last corner. You can afford to give up the entry for maximum acceleration on the exit. Heading towards Grand Curb, 175 miles an hour. Do not lift the throttle. Straight line that mini chicane down into Estoril, turn 2. Fading to about 120. Now accelerating hard. Opening up that steering wheel as early as possible. Now a nice, clean, clear, easy line down the back straight, 185 miles an hour into Adelaide hairpin, and we've locked the right front. Cadence braking, trying to get it in. We've missed the apex. Barrichello going up through the gears now, thinking I've trashed this lap already. Just 23 seconds old, but carry on anyway through Nürburgring chicane. Nice, clean line. Bring it in early then for 180 corner. Hug the white line. Use the curb to suck the front of the car in. On fresh tyres in qualifying, no traction problems through the right and left sweep as you're heading towards Imola chicane, 180 miles an hour. Come down one gear, sweep down the hill, left-hand curb, bring it to the left immediately for Chateau d'Eau. 55 on the apex, a long time to get the nose in, but a lot of extra grip through the exit, and you can get power on early, up to 165 miles an hour before the chicane. Bounce across the curves, but not too much. Good there for Barrichello. This time attack the entry to the final corner, over the line, but only P8.
Very difficult lap, that one for Rubens Barrichello. Worst start for 14 races, as Ross Brawn has confirmed. That fellow's going to be going away in a couple of minutes' time. We hope it is enhancing your enjoyment of our build-up to the French Grand Prix. A lot of attention on the pole sitter, on Ralf Schumacher. I think Kevin Piper has some news of him. Kevin.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, all this talk of possible fireworks involving the Schumacher brothers at the start means the Williams boys here are going to be on their toes right from the word go, because if there is a coming together at the start, the spare car is not set up for Ralf. It might surprise you to learn that the policy here is to alternate between races. Ralf had the spare last week in Germany, so this week it's Montoya's turn, even though he's back on the third row. So as I say, if there is a significant coming together, these mechanics could face their own race against time to get the spare ready for Ralf.
Thanks very much indeed to Kevin. There we are then. David Coulthard. Well, we're all lucky enough really to be travelling around the world. Part of those big crowds watching Formula One. Our regular companions are the written press, battling for those exclusives. Well, Beverly Turner has been kicking around with a British hack pack.
They say F1 racing is one of the most competitive sports in the world. Well, it's nothing compared to the rivalry that surfaces when you put a bunch of English journalists against their German counterparts and add one of these.
Is he playing left back or left back?
This weekend, the press relieved a bit of pre-race tension with some sport of their own. It doesn't matter that our lads actually lost 6-1. It's all part of the F1 circus that they endure all season.
Tell me about the sort of lifestyle that you guys lead, because I know you're away for a lot of the year. Is it always fun, or is it often really hard?
It's a combination of both. We do have fun, we make fun, but you're away from home for so long. It would get very tedious if we didn't try and amuse ourselves in some way, because it is a marriage-threatening kind of lifestyle where you have no real social life at home, because we travel so often.
From Monaco to Melbourne, the gruelling F1 season unfolds in front of an audience of billions, taking in 15 countries and 5 continents over 32 weeks. That's 224 days. The British press spend most of that time immersed in the world of F1, bringing the stories to you at home and getting inside the minds of the drivers. It's a relationship that works surprisingly well.
It's one of the best seats in the house. You know which segment of the British press you could trust with an off-the-record comment, and you know the ones that you wouldn't entertain, you know, preferably at sort of double arm's length would be the preferred distance, but we're all different, and in the same way that they probably like some drivers and don't like others, then that's just human nature.
Do the journalists on the F1 circuit, would you say they have a hard life?
They're taking the if they say that. If they say they do, they swan over business class, get lifted to the circuit by Jaguar or Mercedes or whoever, and then they sit in the press room and all they do is copy the press releases.
I think that's him being controversial. I do his column in the Sun newspaper, and he's always got something to say. That's why we use him. I mean, he's great, and he'll wind people up as well.
Now, we saw you at the football. Is that normal on these sort of trips? Do you get to do more?
No, this is one of the more relaxed ones. Although these days, with everything being so high-tech, the drivers are in briefings hour upon hour, that you do spend a lot of time waiting around, or you have to have interviews planned. And then as a way of relaxing after a long day, then various fixtures are set up.
Like all of us at the end of a hard day, our British journalists abroad like to relax with a few drinks and a bite to eat. And tonight it's courtesy of Mercedes-Benz.
Our team is British and German, as you know, and so we take care of the British as good as we can. And otherwise, I have a personal relationship to many of these journalists from Fleet Street and whatsoever, and we really like to entertain them because they are a funny bunch of people.
What are you working on for Monday's paper?
Well, Monday will be the race, and hopefully we can have a bit more controversy between the Schumacher brothers. They're both on the front row of the grid, and Ralph has already said that he'll do the same move on Michael given the chance, so let's hope he does.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tom.
Pleasure.
And they're already the snappers to capture the start of the French Grand Prix in just under half an hour's time. Over 100,000 here at Manicourt. It is race 10 of the championship. Next, though, we're at home with Jean Alesi, a man in love with racing, and home is Avignon.
Avignon was Italy. That's why the Pope was living here. And on the other side of Avignon, it was France. So when you want to have a good luck, you need to sing a song. When you cross the bridge. Sur le pont d'Avignon, on y danse, sur le pont d'Avignon, on y danse tous en rond.
Welcome back to Manicourt, home of the French Grand Prix since 1991. This fellow Jean Alesi had already spent a couple of years in Formula One by then, now aged 37. He's the most experienced pilot of the lot, 193 races, just one win in a Ferrari at Montreal 6 years ago. He loves his job. He's got a great relationship with the fans. He battles on despite meagre pickings at Prost. Well, Jean Alesi invited Louise Goodman to experience his lifestyle away from the hurly-burly of ducking and diving for points at a race weekend.
On the banks of the Rhone in southern France lies the historic city of Avignon. Back in the 14th century, the walled city was the home to the head of the Roman Catholic Church. For the past 37 years, it's been home to Jean Alesi, another man with Italian connections.
Avignon was Italy. That's why the Pope was living here. And on the other side of Avignon, it was France. So when you want to have a good luck, you need to sing a song. When you cross the bridge. Sur le pont d'Avignon, on y danse, sur le pont d'Avignon, on y danse tous en rond. We are so pleased to have this bridge because we are world famous just because of the bridge.
Although he now lives in Switzerland, Jean has a home in Avignon and his family still live locally. The Alesis are a close-knit clan and Jean returns to visit them whenever he can. He has fond memories of his childhood.
I think Avignon was one of the good place for it because I had many friends who were cycling in the town. There is not so much traffic, and then obviously in the garage of my father I had a good time as well. My parents are from Sicily and they arrived in Avignon in 1959. So slowly we grew up here. When I said we, because my father was just a body worker, and slowly he built the carrosserie, and we are really proud of that because he showed us with just the work you can go everywhere. My mother was helping my father, so they worked together, and when we were coming back from the school, we were spending the time in a carrosserie, and it was great. I had my karting, I had all the toys to play with.
Since the early days of his racing career, Jean has always celebrated his victories at the local cafe. His successes have been a source of much pride to the locals.
I feel French because I grew up in France, I learned French, and it's the way it was. But I have all my family Italian, except my wife, Japanese. She's here actually. I've been really lucky to find Kumiko for many reasons, but the first one is we are from a different world, different countries. She's from Japan, and we have two children, Giuliano and Elena, and that is great, really great. When I had my child, I wanted to have something from my child with me. I said, okay, I want to put the name of them on my helmet. So I have the name of them and the name of the mother on my helmet.
But it's written in Japanese?
It's written in Japanese, yes.
Why?
Because to respect my wife.
Jean is not your name, is it?
No, because when I born, my name was Giovanni. And when I was a child, the kids was meaning each other and they called me spaghetti. So then I was crying at home, and my parents decided to change my name from Giovanni to Jean.
Part French, part Italian, Jean's 100% Latin and typically passionate about his cars.
My first car was a Fiat 500, and I'm really glad to have it still now.
And you still drive it?
Sure. I have it here, and I like sometimes to take it and to go in the city because it's very easy to park.
And what about your other cars? How did you start your collection?
So I start the collection not like someone who wants to have cars to show, but just to enjoy. So that's why I have this old Rolls Royce, because when I want to be romantic, when I have my head to be free for it, I take Kumiko to eat in some restaurants outside Avignon with this car. When I want to scare my grandmother, I take the F40 and I say to her, I'm sorry, my grandmother, I had only this car. So when she sits, I do 2 or 3 kilometers in first gear, very slowly. And when we are on the bridge, I go full power and she's screaming, my heart, my heart. And I like that. The Porsche, that was a gift I did for Kumiko when she was 25. That was a birthday present.
It's not just cars that you have either. I think the other thing that not many people know about you is that you are actually Grand Prix driver and vineyard owner.
Yeah, it's very similar of what I'm doing with my job. It's a lot of passion, a lot of expectation. Sometimes you can be very lucky if the weather is fine. Sometimes you cannot control everything, you know, because the weather makes the wine good or not. And I like this idea.
Just down the road at his parents' house, Jean's mother has lovingly amassed a vast array of her son's racing memorabilia.
Voila. So here, Louise, is all my life.
Oh, wow.
Look, first of all, my karting, yeah. That is my years in Ferrari. So my mother put it because there are so many times. So 91.
Ferrari was Jean's spiritual home, and he recorded his one and only Grand Prix victory with the team at the 1995 Canadian Grand Prix.
In terms of satisfaction, personal satisfaction, the win was okay, good for me because I said, okay, finally you won, because I finished 17 times second, and I don't know how many times I retired when I was leading the Grand Prix. So I was so happy to have at least a win, but I don't care the results. What I care is to give the emotion I have inside of me when I'm driving the car. Maybe that is one of the reasons why I'm able to throw my helmet into the public and not doing like some drivers who are keeping the helmet because they are making a profit again. I say again because I think we are very well paid in our job. But they want to sell again those things, and I think it's completely wrong. And the way I'm doing is just because I do things with my heart and with my emotion.
Giovanni Alesi, we certainly want him to stick around a bit longer, but he's having to start the French Grand Prix in 15 minutes' time from 19th on the grid. Those two Jordans, 5th and 7th on the grid, Messrs. Trulli and Frentzen. And wearing a little Jordan outfit and joining us in the studio, Ross Kemp. People might be taking a double look at the old sets and saying, what's he doing in a Jordan outfit? Just explain to us.
I wonder what I'm doing in it as well, actually. Well, we're doing a documentary for ITV, and I'm being trained, hopefully, for Silverstone, where I'll be a member of the pit crew. I did the front right tyre on Trudy's car yesterday during qualifying and in Austria, and we were practicing me using the thing that protects the petrol, stopping the petrol being ignited on the exhaust. So, I'm rather nervous.
Well, our regular viewers, Ross, will have seen you having a go at things down there. I know you haven't personally seen your efforts, so you're going to see one or two pictures here for the first time.
And then just as you come back...
That's you having a little go at the wheel.
The practice I got, so let's see how well I did.
And that way now, back that way. Yeah. Put it on. And then put my hand across there and pull it back out?
Yeah.
That is too violent, isn't it?
A little personal technical problem, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, that was my flies.
There's your spare gun. No, come on. This ain't going to happen.
Looking after you all right, those Jordan
been
guys?
Brilliant to me. I've been so surprised how welcoming they've been, and they've allowed me to become part of the team, and I've had some great times with them, both serious and playing around.
But there we go. It's a nice. We'd expect a nice sort of a thespian pose from me at the end there, wouldn't we? We'd expect that. But I mean, are you a bit daunted by it all? That you're really going to have to do the business in a couple of weeks at Silverstone?
It's amazing what happens. Having been, here, and what you watch this place grow like a village. It just grows and grows, like from Tuesday onwards, and you can feel the pressure building as well. I mean, it's. I think that's why it's such an appealing sport. It is. It's full of pressure. It's full of excitement, glamour. It's got everything.
Have they exactly told you what you're going to be doing at Silverstone, or is it going to be?
I think it's still. They're testing me basically all the way along the line, and as long as I come up with the results, and hopefully I'll be doing something. I don't know.
Well, let's find out how you've been doing. Eddie Jordan is down there. What's he been like, Ed?
Well, actually, we've known Ross for some time. Likewise, he's brought a new dimension to us. We won't say what, but no, he's great fun. But he is such great encouragement because he's been in there and he's prepared to work, and yet we haven't still given him the green light for Silverstone yet. He's still a little bit more training to do, and surely we'll help him to do that. We make sure that you keep him off the sticky buns up there. I don't want him getting the good life up in that nice studio and air conditioned and all that sort of stuff, because it's not like that down here.
What sort of? I mean, he's been a bit coy up here. What sort of jobs have you really got lined up for him at the British Grand Prix?
Well, hopefully, if everything, we want obviously safety for everyone, but if he does the job properly, hopefully he'll do the front wheel and on the race car during the race. And if he doesn't sort it out, I've got a couple of good Irish paddies here who can sort him out. Old Keano and Paul McGrath, they don't take too many prisoners, and I'll look after you, Kemp, if you don't sort yourself out.
Yes, Mr. EJ.
Roy Keane and Paul McGrath. We were just about to see Roy in the background there. Not too sure where Paul has got to. Final thought from you about the two cars this afternoon. You're well placed.
Well, we've had a chance for the last number of races and we didn't take them, and that's been quite sad. It's been a difficult last couple of races since the traction control, the thing at launch control in Austria. We haven't performed like we should have, and fingers crossed, let's hope it'll start, because Silverstone is on us and we want to perform really strongly there, but it'd be nice to come away with some nice points here in France. Fingers crossed.
Eddie, thanks as always. Job this afternoon for you then? You've got to crash over, you've got the gear on?
Yeah, I'm on Heinz's front right tyre, so I'll give you a wave, Jim.
We will do. Good. And listen, good luck in a couple of weeks. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and just keep yourself properly dressed when you're at Silverstone.
I'm a nervous boy. I'm a very nervous
everyone's watching. Okay, Ross, thank you very much indeed. Okay, Silverstone next in a couple of weeks. We actually got a little competition for you that we've thought out. Of course, it's Murray Walker's last Silverstone commentary, and we're wondering about a few banners that you might have sorted out for Murray. In fact, we're going to award a prize for the best banner. I understand 1 or 2 tickets are still available, and we will give a special signed Murray Walker print, and awarded on the day, on qualifying and on the race day itself. We also have the result of our competition, a chance for you to win a great day out at the Goodwood Festival of Speed and a ride in the 2-seater European Minardi. Remember, we asked you about the nationality of the Minardi driver, Fernando Alonso. Is he A, Spanish? Is he B, Italian? Or C, from Argentina? Here's the answer from the man in the know.
Hey, I'm Fernando Alonso from Minardi. I'm born in Oviedo. The correct answer is A, Spanish. Have a good time in Goodwood.
These two are going to have a decent time at Goodwood. Nick Steadman from Buckingham and Barry Smith from Plymouth. Well done, Nick. Well done, Barry. You both get a ride in that two-seater Minardi. And I should just point you towards a special show covering the best of the Goodwood Festival of the Speed. The highlights after our qualifying session at the British Grand Prix. We start that at 12:30 a week on Saturday, and that show at 2:30. Well, Ralf Schumacher, he's waited quite a while for his first pole position. Let's go live to Louise Goodman.
Yeah, they've made a few changes down here, Jim. Now, this is where the drivers used to exit the pit lane. As you can see, it leads on the main straight it leads onto the circuit right at the end of the main pit straight. Now, that was deemed to be a bit dangerous, so this new section has been built. It follows the line of the track around the outside of the first corner and rejoins it at turn 2 instead. Now, it's met with mixed opinions from the drivers. Some like it and some don't. We had a lot of pit lane exit controversy last weekend at the Nürburgring. Let's hope all goes well here this weekend.
Thank you, Louise. Temperature rising 27 degrees air temperature. It is 46 degrees on the track. Just under 10 minutes to go to the start of the French Grand Prix. Well, Mika Häkkinen has gone pretty well in warm-up. Had a miserable season so far. He's never actually won in France. Will it be his turn at last? Michael Schumacher squeezed David Coulthard at the start last year, and this time younger brother Ralf has the advantage of pole. Is it payback time? Right behind the Schumachers, David Coulthard really needing a burst of his special manicure magic. Then the Jordans that Eddie was talking about, Trulli and Frentzen, Sandwich, Montoya. It is full speed ahead then for the French Grand Prix.